Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be playing some Dimir Midrange. This deck will build tempo by aggressively attacking while disrupting our opponent's game plan, long enough for us to win. How do we do this? Well, let's take a look. First of all, we have a very low mana curve at 2.4 with 16 2-drops. We run 21 creatures and 15 spells to support us. We, as blue players here, will be playing a few counterspells to protect our board and gain advantage early. This includes 3 times Make Disappear, a Disdainful Stroke. We have also Urtai, who, when this ETBs, may choose either to counter a target spell, ability, or triggered ability, or destroy another target creature or planeswalker. Very useful. And we also have our new card in here, Tishana's Tidebinder. It has flash. And when this ETBs, you may counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. And on top of that, if an ability of an artifact creature or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent will lose all abilities for as long as Tishana stays on the battlefield. So again, that is very useful. Our creatures mostly have evasion in the form of flying, and also have some very useful effects. We have Fairy Mastermind, 2 mana, flash, flying, 2/1, and whenever our opponent draws their second card each turn, we also get to draw a card. That's good on staying on top of card advantage and replenishing your hand. We have Malcolm here, also flash and flying. And when this deals combat damage to a player, you may put a chorus counter on it, draw a card, then discard a card. However, if there are 4 or more chorus counters on Malcolm, you may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost. Pretty useful. We also have a singular copy of the Subterranean Schooner. It's a 2 mana vehicle, and whenever this attacks, the target creature that crewed it explores. So it'll either put a land to your hand or add a 1/1 counter. What's really good about this though is that it crews for 1. So any of your little flyers or even the Spyglass Siren in our 1-drop spot will be able to crew this, making it very good in the early game. We have our 4 copies of the Deep Cavern Bat. This enters with flying and lifelink. When this enters, it also looks at your opponent's hand, and you may exile a non-land card from it until the bat leaves the battlefield. Very useful in gaining tempo and disrupting your opponent's game plan. We also have a couple of copies of Kitesail Larcenist. It has flying and ward 1. It is a 2/3 for 3 mana. And when this ETBs, each player choose up to 1 target artifact or creature that player controls, and for as long as Kitesail Larcenist is on the battlefield, the chosen permanents become treasure artifacts. Very good at controlling the battlefield. And also keep in mind, you do not have to choose one of your own permanents to become a treasure. You can simply select 0 and then only have your opponent's creatures or artifacts, whatever it may be, turn into that treasure. very, very useful in controlling the early game and being aggressive. It's exactly what we want. As far as our removal goes, we just have 3 copies of Cut Down and 3 copies of Go for the Throat, as we have a lot of stuff built into our other cards here. We also have cards such as Lord Skitter, Gix. This is just to build out our board, sort of go wide a little bit, and then we can capitalize, obviously. This one will allow us to draw more cards. A lot of the time it will, as the majority of our creatures have flying. And Lord Skitter will just sort of make the board go wide, and will also allow you to exile a target card from an opponent's graveyard. That's quite good if you don't want them replaying cards that can be cast from the graveyard, so you can shut your opponent down in that way if you need to. I'm also running 4 copies of the Invasion of Amnoket. The front side is a good card. When it ETBs, each player will mill 3 cards, then each opponent discards a card, and you draw a card. Very good for card advantage, but also a lot of the time we will be able to flip this pretty fast, as most of our creatures have flying. And because we have milled, 9 times out of 10 we can pull something good out the graveyard by the time we flip one of these. Definite game changer, and I would definitely want to keep all 4 copies. On our sort of top end, we have 1 copy of Sheldred, just for the life gain and the extra little bit of damage if we need to close out a game. We also have Aklazots, our legendary creature bat god. Very useful. A lot of the time doesn't see play because the game is usually over around turn 5-ish anyway. If not, it is a good way to close out a game. On top of that, for 7 mana, although it is a bit high of a mana cost, this is also our kind of late game finisher. As when this ETBs, it enters with 3 1/1 counters. And whenever it enters the battlefield, you create a number of 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power. So again, it's just another way for us to go wide and get in those last few points of damage if we need to close out a game. We can also pay 2 on this guy to sack an artifact to put an additional 1/1 counter on it. It's a cool little card I thought I would add, being new and all. So this is the deck. As for lands, we basically just want fast lands here, lands that come in untapped. However, I have added 2 copies of Restless Reef, simply to allow me to use it as a creature if need be. We have a copy of the Soaring City. We have a copy of the Abandoned Mire. I've put in a Field of Ruin in case we need to remove a land for whatever reason. And a copy of Mirrex. So this is Dimir Midrange, and it's a lot of fun. I'll jump into some games in just a sec, but first, please leave a like, it really helps. Be sure to leave a comment with any thoughts or suggestions. Now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you all for watching. Okay, jumping on into a game here. We are on the play. We have 3 lands, a blue and a black, 2 fairy masterminds, and a deep cavern bat. I'd say this is good enough to keep. Start with our island. Next turn, swamp, and then we can go probably deep cavern bat to see what they're working with. Okay, they have a turn 2 here, and a turn 2 there. I say we take out the Fairy Mastermind. Probably play Talia. Figured as much. Alright. Swamp. And then I'm going to swing in for 1. Gain 1 life. Pass turn. And we can play Fairy Mastermind on our opponent's turn, as it has flash. And if they're wanting to draw an additional card, then we will also draw an additional card. That doesn't draw cards, but that's okay. We can still get a creature on the battlefield. I will take 2. And then we'll play Fairy Mastermind on our opponent's end step. Alright, we draw a Go for the Throat here. However, I think in this position, I'm just going to put Sheldred down. Swing in for 3 damage. Fast turn. Opponent will take an additional 2 from our Sheldred. Okay, so our opponent now has 4 lands. We only know what one of the cards is. Oh, they have a second Soaring City. That's something different. No, I don't like that one, gaining him life. We're actually just going to go ahead and remove this, simply because of the life gain. Opponent plays their Sheldred. It's funny because we can counter that. We could counter their ability of losing 2 life. I'm just going to let that one resolve though, because I do want to get down my copy of Sheldred. This way, the effects will cancel each other out. I will swing for another 3 in the air, gaining 1 back. Our opponent going down to 8 health. Not a big deal. We will flash this in. And then we'll draw. Okay, what have we got going on here? The lands won't do anything, so destroying a land with the Field of Ruin, pointless. Merrick's can be done on their turn. This can be done on their turn. All of these can be played on our opponent's turn, so I will attack with both Fairy Masterminds, knowing he can't block both. And we'll see if our opponent chooses to make a block. Looks like that's a yes. And we pass the turn here. Fairy Mastermind also has like a built-in ability. For 4 mana, each player will draw a card. So if we resolve this on our opponent's... Oh, sorry, if we pay that on our opponent's turn, for us both to draw a card, we actually draw 2 to their 1. Which is nice. It's fine, does nothing. Sure. I can counter that, but I will let it slide. You may create a 1/1. And you can exile a card too. It's irrelevant. Let's see if our opponent wants to attack here. They do. They want to send Sheldred in. Now I can block it, but I'm not going to. I'll take 4, going down to 10. And before my turn on our opponent's end step, we will in fact activate the ability of our Fairy Mastermind. That would have been GG if they did not have a Sheldred. Okay, it's now our turn. We will draw. We will play our Spyglass Siren. This will also create us a map token. And we will use that on our Deep Cavern Bat. Unfortunately, we draw into land. That's alright. We will attack one more time with our flying creatures. We don't want to lose our Sheldred here to a attack. I think that would be a misplay. So we'll send our flyers over top. Our opponent goes to 3 life. And we'll end the turn. We can actually win the game right this second. Or can we? We'll go to 2, right? And then if we trigger Fairy Mastermind, he draws another card taking another 2 damage before he'll gain the 2 health. Because I'm pretty sure my Sheldred triggers first. Yep, so this will be GG's. And there we have it. Victory. And into another game here. We get to go first once again. 3 lands. We have a turn 1 play here. In fact, we don't. Our land's inter-tapped. That's unfortunate. But we have a turn 2. Turn 2 plays. I think it's worth keeping. Our opponent mulligans to 6. We go first. Play our tap land. So there you go. Looks like our opponent could be mono green or Dimir. We'll find out soon enough. I think we go Spyglass Siren, and then we'll get Merrick's down, and may as well pop that. See what we get off the top of our library. It's a land. Alright, we'll take it. Yeah, see if we hit a creature there, then we'll be able to buff our Spyglass Siren, but that's fine. Right, so land for turn and pass after attacking, of course. So we can play this, but I'm not going to, because this taps for 1 mana and he has 2 there, which means with another land he can play a 4-drop. I do have Make Disappear in hand to counter a spell. If not, on the end step I can flash in Malcolm here, the Alluring Scoundrel. So we'll end our turn, and we'll sort of be trying to counterplay whatever our opponent does. That's how we're going to gain the advantage in this game, I believe. So our opponent wants to do some fight rigging. We're going to say nope, not today. Get out of here. And that's all they got. So that puts us in an awesome position. Now on 4 mana, we can afford to do something a little more pricey. Our best play though is probably just to drop the Sheldred here and go over top for 1 damage. Additional 2 from Sheldred, taking our opponent to 16 life. At the beginning of combat, if Reservoir Kraken is untapped, an opponent may tap it. Sure, we can block Sheldred. Tap Sheldred, sorry. Would have been nice to have that last turn. That's a big creature. Okay, well, we'll go our land for turn, and Acolytes it is. Just seems like the right play. We will swing with all, as he only has a 1/1 blocker. So yes, he can block Sheldred, but it's fine. He'll just be losing a minion. A creature, sorry. Alright. Now we can face race him here. We'll win that one. So he's going to try and want to take out my creatures, I think. And a fight rigging could potentially do it, because the Kraken's now going to jump to 7. Yep, so he's going to cast the Titan here. I do not control an artifact or an enchantment. Right, so they gain 5 life. Okay, well, I think the only play we have is Invasion. We can't go over the top anymore with the Titan there. We'll force our opponent to discard while we draw. play a land for turn. Attacking is not going to do us any favors, so we will pass our turn. Very well. Fight rigging sucks. We'll just tap it. We don't want them swinging in with more damage. I don't really care about the 1/1 fishies at the moment. Could come back to bite me, but yeah. We'll eat the damage here. They tap out their Titan of Industry. Yeah, no, that's not happening. Let's just make sure they don't have any mana open, which they don't, so we will counter that. Good thing we saved it. How much damage do we have here? We have 8, 9. We can flip our land and go 13, and then 14, 15. We can put our opponent to 1 health. We can put our opponent to 1 health. Yep. Then do we die on the clapback? What if they got 8, 14, have 19 damage plus another one, 20. So we need a blocker. We have 1 blocker. We'll go to combat. We're going to leave this here because 1 damage or 3, I'd rather have an extra blocker just to prevent a little bit of damage. We could also flip that. I think that's probably a better option. And then go for lethal next turn. But yeah, he's 1 blocker. That's right. I should have sent 2 at the invasion. Still think we're okay though, because we have now gained a bunch more life. We unfortunately didn't flip our battle. I forgot about the little fish. The symbol was gets a bit confusing because there's one for like unblockable and there's one for can't block. I always confuse the two. Nonetheless, we can tap down their Kraken because we have an untapped creature. So the most we'll take is probably 12. If they swing with everything, we can just swing for the win. Yeah. So it's looking good for us. Okay, sure. He makes his forest into a creature for the turn. And another one. Very well. That's still not lethal. Yep, so we will tap this to prevent the 7 damage. see what our opponent wants to attack with. Eight damage. Yep, we'll take it. And then it becomes my turn. So he can only block one creature, one flying creature, and I now have 3. Yeah, so GG. He can block 2 creatures, so if he blocks these 2, then he's taking 3, and then with my land would be an additional 4, so 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. I think this is lethal. At least I hope so. And it is. Our opponent concedes, so GG's. Okay, we get to go first once again. Going first is amazing in this deck and really gives you the upper hand. Unfortunately here we do not have a 1-drop in hand, but we do have our 3 lands and our turn 2 plays. Easily a keeper. We're just waiting on our opponent to mulligan, it seems. And they discard to 6, giving us more of a lead. We're going to play our Underground River first, just because we have a blue and a black mana source available now. We play our land for turn. And I would like to play the Deep Caverns back. We can start attacking next turn. We also get to look at our opponent's hand and remove their turn 2 play. Looks like it'll just be a copy of Generous Visitor, which we cannot stop. So we'll take Calyx. We'll exile that. Very well. We play our land for turn. And what they have in their hand is not threatening enough to really hold on to the make disappear. So instead, I'm going to opt for invasion here. They will have to discard a card, and we get to draw. And we'll send this at our battle over here, taking that down to 3, and we gain a life. In a pretty good spot here. Our opponent now only has 2 cards in hand. Should I say 1 card in hand? Yes, they're buffing up their creature, but that is irrelevant as we have removal. We will remove this as it is not an artifact. You may draw. We will play our Abandoned Mire here just because now I can't see their hand. I don't know what they're going to play, and they will have 3 to 4 mana. We'll just go to attacks, send another damage in our battle, and we'll end turn here. So now we can pretty much shut down our opponent's next play with any luck. sees I have 2 mana open. Anything else, sir? Nope, just 1 damage, and is that turn? I think he may have run out of things to do here. Good for us. Once again, disrupting the early game, setting ourselves up to do good things. We can play our Spyglass Siren here, and we can create a map token, which we can immediately sack, selecting Deep Cavern Bat as our creature once our opponent resolves this. Yep, so we create our map token, and we're going to immediately sack that, selecting the bat, and we'll see what we get off the top of our library here. If it's a land, we just have 1 extra land in hand, but ideally we want to hit anything but land to give this a 1/1 counter. And we whiff. We hit land. So flipping our battle is going to take us 1 more turn. Not sure what my opponent actually has in hand here, if it's removal or not. They seem to just be roping us out a bit here. Nonetheless, we completely shut down the early game. They didn't draw the cards they needed, and the cards that they did need we got rid of, so very aggressive, disruptive, gain our tempo, and puts us in a very good spot. I am definitely going to counter this. Probably should have used Make Disappear there because he had no mana available to pay the 2. And later on I could have used the other one, but that's fine. We have enough to transform our land here, so we will do that. We send 1 at our battle, 2 at face. We'll mill them for 4. Flip our battle. We can take their stuff. However, we have a better creature. They don't want none of it, and they concede. Easy GG's. Okay, into another game here. We are going second. We're on the draw. We have a 3-land hand. A turn 1 play. The Spyglass Siren. We also have cut down, so I'm happy to keep this hand. We'll see what colors our opponents will be in shortly. Once they decide what they want to keep or mulligan. Any time now. Any time would be great. I mean, I do have all day, but I would rather not wait all day. Opponent. It is you I'm looking for. Okay, they mulligan here. It looks like mono red. Straight away, we know what our turn 1 play is, and that is to get rid of this monstrosity. turn 2 we can do a little more. Cut down, get that off the board, and then we'll put our own creature down. The Spyglass Siren. You know, a 1-mana 1/1 creates a map. For a 1 cost card, it does so much. Pretty happy with this. Okay. Well, we definitely go land for turn. I say we're going to use the map token, targeting our Siren here. It's unfortunate we drew a land, because if we didn't, we could have put a +1/1 counter on this and attacked. I can't block anyway. We'll just play our artifact vehicle, the Subterranean Schooner. It does have Summoning Sickness, so it can just sit there for a turn. And we're not blocking with this guy, so we may as well put 1 damage face. Okay, he gives it +2 attack. Still not very threatening, might I add. We'll play our invasion here, making him discard whilst we draw a card. Card advantage is very important. Okay, and then we will crew our Schooner, and we'll hit the battle with that. On attack, we get to explore, and we find Urtai on top of our library. A lovely card. We will keep that on top. Our opponent only has 1 mana here, so feels bad, man. Feels bad. But you are in mono red, so is what it is. They just concede here, probably due to being mana screwed, but hey, we'll take that. We'll take those wins. Alright, we got a few easy games in here. We'll head on to the next. To another game. Our opponent will be going first. We have kind of a little bit of a janky hand, but we have 2 things to play out of it, so we'll keep these 2 cards. You know, we could easily swap them for something else, but maybe we should have, because again, mono red. Unfortunately, we did not draw into cut down here. I think I will play Deep Cavern Bat and see if we can take their next turn away from them. Disruption. So that would be Urbrask's Forge, provided they draw land, so nope, we don't want you playing that, sir. Okay, so our opponent does not draw land, it seems. And we need to do something here. We're just going to go ahead and play our Kitesail Larknest. If he wants to target this, it will have Ward 1, and he only has 2 mana. We will choose not to submit our own creature, and I think the Goblin Tomb Raider is probably the best to remove. Did give him his land, but he used it to play the Forge. Perfectly acceptable. We do block here. Okay, we draw into our fifth land, but we will play our fourth. I think Sheldred is probably our best bet. We'll stop any of his little hasty creatures. And all in all, we've done 4 damage, putting us on par with what he's done to us. I can feel some momentum shifting here. Okay. And they swing. Yep. I will block. He might have a burn spell of some sort, but hey, the more cards he uses, the more advantage I'll have. Okay, gain our 2 back. Play our land for turn. We will put our Siren down. We can buff our flyer up a little bit, potentially. So we'll sack the map token. And what comes off the top of our library here? Another land. It's unfortunate. Okay, we'll move to attackers. I am going to swing with both. Not too worried about blocking here. I sort of just want to face race them at this stage. So they block. One less creature for us to deal with. They'll take another 2 damage from the draw. We will have a 3/1 coming at us. Not too worried about 3-4 damage on board. That's fine for us. Again, that's fine. Yep, we do not wish to block this. Alright, before our turn starts, we'll get rid of this token. That way we can swing through clean. And why not activate our land here? Turn that into a creature. All attack. Mill them 4 cards. And they concede. And it's as easy as that, guys. GG's. Well, that's all I got time for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. Deck list will be in the description below. And that's all. Until next video, guys. Peace.